Welcome to Python Coding episode 2, Statements, Functions and Indentation. This week's episode looks at the if, elif and else statements. We'll also be creating our very own functions that can be called from anywhere in Kodi, and as a bonus we've also touched on the importance of indentation. And if you've not watched the first guide, I highly recommend watching that one first, as we will be continuing from the previous guides as we go along. So we'll be using the same code. So by all means, feel free to watch this without watching that one, but it may not make too much sense if you're not following the whole syllabus. Okay, right, let's crack on with it. Now, in our previous guide, we very briefly went through modules and functions. So we're just going to delve into that a little bit more here, and if you can remember, we had xbmc.log. So, and we explained the fact that xbmc is a module, so we imported that. As you can see at the top here, we imported xbmc, and we've got the log, which is the function. So that function exists in that module that we've imported. Now we're going to create our own function. So with this line of code we've got here, this xbmc log, what we're going to do is let's just put that down on another line, and we're going to type def, so define. Whenever you're creating a new function, you'll always start it with def. You give it whatever name you want. So we're going to call this one index, and then you must close the function with these brackets. Okay, and that's always followed by a colon, like so. So we've got define, our function's called index, and we're not actually going to put anything in these brackets at this moment in time. We will go into that in a little bit, but we're not going to pass any parameter through to this. This is just a basic function that's, when it's called, it's going to print that thing to the log. Now, if we was to run this now, we would get an error, and I'll save that. Oh, sorry. Before I do that, I'm just going to go down here, and we need to call that index. Because at the minute it is just a function, so code is reading through that. It says, oh, that's a function. Great, brilliant. We don't need to do anything with that. We just sort of store that in our memory, and we go back to that if it's ever called. So to actually use that to write to the log, we would do index somewhere in our code, and that will call it. That will call that function. So we're going to save that, and we just see what happens. So if we go to the log, go to Kodi, and we want the video add-ons, click on test, and there you go, we've got the error as expected. So let's go to the log, and you can see here it says indentation error. So whenever looking at log, always look at the bottom part. It's the bottom section you want. So you can see there we've got that's on. Oh, let's make that a bit smaller so we can read it a little better. What we've got there is it's telling us what file it's in. So it's in the default py, which we know, and it's on line 19. We've got xbmc log. And the reason is indentation error. It expects an indented block. So let's go back to our default py, and that's quite correct. It is expected to be indented. So what we've got here is, because we've got a colon, whenever you see a colon, that always means whatever comes after that should be indented. So it should be on the next line and indented. So we can do, let's just do 4 spaces. That's what I like to do. And if we run that now, so let's save that. and we just run that now. Great, no error. Let's go to the log, and you can see there it's printed it to the log. Perfect. You can ignore these X file errors. We'll get into that later, why they're appearing, but they're not actually affecting our code. So that's great. That bit of code's working. It's printed that to the log. And similarly, if we remove this index, do you know what? I'll just comment it out. That's the easiest way rather than removing it. We comment that out. Let's save that. What we should find is nothing actually happens. So click on test. There's no errors, but if we look in our log, nothing's happened. We've still got that original 2 there, but we haven't got another one because we've not called that function. We've not told Kodi, do you know what? We want to do something. We want to call that function. Also, there's another little trick that I just want to quickly show you. If you use tabs, someone brought this up earlier, and it's a very, very good point. When coding, everyone seems to use 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces as opposed to an actual tab. Vast majority do, at least. Now, the easiest way to set that up on Sublime is go to View at the top there, Indentation, and tick that one that says indent using spaces. The tab width is 4, that's on by default, and yeah, and that's about it. Once you've got that, you should be good. So what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to show you the error that you would normally get. Oops, indentation. Let's get rid of that. Get rid of that. Okay, so you can see here that is actually a tab. That's not a space. Okay, so I've changed that from spaces to a tab. So let's save that. And if we run that, oh, actually, sorry, I need to call that function for it to do it. So we save that, we'll run that, and hopefully that's worked. Yeah, there you go. It's printed it. So it doesn't matter which you use, tabs or spaces, but as I say, most developers in the Kodi scene seem to use spaces, so you know it makes sense to follow that suit. Now, if we then went and done something like 4 spaces, and we put xbmc log test, so we've got a tab there, but that one's 4 spaces, but it looks as though it's actually lined up perfectly. You would be wrong. So if we do save, we try and run that, got an error, we go in here and it's telling us indentation error, and it tells us what line 20. So we go back in there and we've used spaces. If you've not set up your text editor correctly and you come across those indentation errors, we're all going to come across them at some point. I actually seem to come across them a hell of a lot of time. There's a nice simple fix. So let's just put our indent back on there because I like having that on. But the simple fix is if you go to the indentation in the view section, do convert indentation to spaces. That will go through the whole file and convert everything that's a tab into a space. So you can see that one's spaces and that one's now spaces as well. So if we save that, we can then go in here, click on test, and we should hopefully find, yep, there we go. We've got our 2 and we've got our test printed. So there we've covered indentation as well there, something that wasn't actually on today's syllabus, but we've added that anyway. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so there we've called that function. We've called index, and the reason I've got you to put the word index in the brackets at the bottom is because whenever you call a function, if you're calling it from, let's say, the main code itself, so everything on that very first line, not indented, should I say, everything that's not indented, that is your main code. That's what Kodi will read, and then it would go through each line, read each line. It will miss out all the indented lines. It go through each one of those lines, and then, based upon what it comes across. So let's say it hits index. If index is already found in the code, it will open it. If index was below that bit of code, so if we had that index, let's cut that. If we put index there, it would fail because code is working its way down. When it opens up, it's doing Baroni equals 1, Shan equals 2, blah, 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 blah. And then it would hit index, and it's thinking, well, what's index? I've got no idea. I've not come across an index, so it'll throw an error.
Is that when you get the not defined thing?
Yes, yeah, that's quite often what will happen. Yeah, you'll get something about not defined. Yep. So that always needs to be below wherever you've defined it. I'm going to add another variable up here. So just above where it says Baroni, I'm going to add. Let's add Diesel because he was feeling left out because we didn't use him. Diesel equals
Oh god.
0.
Poor D's. Oh.
So let's move on to statements very briefly because we can combine functions and statements. So a statement is essentially something. How do you say this? It's something that makes something do something else. So we might say if if diesel equals 1, open index. If diesel equals 0, open something else. Okay, so we give that a go. Let's create one more function. So if we do, let's do it below, somewhere below there. Let's do it a couple of lines below that index 1. And if we do define D's test, and don't forget the colon at the end. And we'll do xbmc log. Oops. Put some hashes in there. And Server CNX brought up a good point earlier. So while we're doing another xbmc log thing, I might as well show you the proper way of doing this. So up above, we use plus shan. There is another way of doing it, which if you're doing multiple things in a log, so if you want to put multiple variables in there, it's much easier excuse me, to use the percent sign with a lowercase s, and then you can do percent and whatever variable you want. So let's say we want the variable ARB to show. Okay, we would do that. Now the good thing about that is, okay, it might not make any sense at the minute, but let's say you wanted something like this in there. You wanted it to say ARB equals that. Oops. Put some spaces in, and we'd do Houdin equals, do another percent %s. What we could then do is we could put multiple amounts in here, so we could do ARB whodin, and you need to close it with 2 brackets because we've got one open there, so we need to close it with the correct amount. So got 2, and we need to close it with 2. Okay, does that kind of make sense? So percent
You know this
%s.
a little bit, so yes.
Okay, so
For me.
yep, so %s is just saying we're expecting a string. So it won't physically print %s. It will replace that with whatever we've got over here, just beyond.
In the brackets.
Yep, just beyond that % sign at the end there. So you could have loads in there. It's actually a really useful way of using variables in one-liners. So we've got that. Now let's put in some sort of function, some sort of statement. So a couple of lines below that, we'd do if diesel is equal to. Now can you see there I've put 2 equal signs. This used to really confuse me, I'll be honest with you. It made no sense to me for ages. So I'm just going to put equals 1, followed by a semicolon, because every statement has to end with a semicolon, because it's saying, okay, if something happens, do this, and then we have to indent it. But the 2 equal signs, so in normal language, in English or whatever, you would say if diesel equals 1, and it would just be 1 equals sign, yeah? In code, if you use the word equals, like we've done at the top there with those variables, that actually assigns a number or a string, or what, it assigns something to that variable. So it has a totally different meaning. It doesn't mean if it's equal to, it just means that is equal to.
Hey Lee, can I just say something really quick?
Yeah, of course.
I know on Code Academy, the way they described it was really good for me. It was like, I guess it was that automate the boring stuff. The guy talked about it being a box.
Yep.
So the box is diesel, inside the box is 0. That's the way he described it. It made me remember it all the time because it's like, this is what it's holding. Do you know what I mean?
That's a
Does that
good
make
idea.
sense?
Yeah, absolutely. That's
Versus
a very good point.
If
Yeah.
diesel equals 1 it's not, diesel isn't 1, it's just diesel 0. I get it. Anyways, that probably made it more confusing than anything, but I just always thought of it like he described it as a box holding whatever it is you want to put inside of it.
Yeah, that's a good way of describing it, I think. Yeah. But yeah, if you want to know if something equals something, just always use the 2 thingies.
2 of them.
Yep. So if we press enter, you'll see it automatically moves the code inwards because it knows that this is a statement. So we just got to tell it what we want it to do now. So if diesel equals 1, what we'd do is we would do these test and open and close brackets. And below that, if we put else and the colon, this is telling us, so if diesel is equal to the number 1, which we can see in this code at the minute, he's not. He equals 0. Yeah. So if he's equal to 1, it would run the function d's test, which we can see there is that log ARB equals whodin equals. But if that's not the case, we use else. So if that's not the case, we use else. Else we'd do index and open and close brackets. And that bottom index, we might as well get rid of that, or else we'll end up doing it twice. Okay, so if you want to save that and all try running that, see what comes up in your log.
ERB equals 3s, whodin equals he says hi guys.
Is that's what you've got in your log, is it?
I got 2 first. Oh no, that was before. Yeah, that's what I've got. Phone signs ERB equals 3s. Houdin equals he says hi guys.
Okay. Can you check your code and see what you've got diesel equals?
Because it should have printed me.
Yeah, it should print
Diesel
Nishan.
equals 0.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you get rid of your...
Let's just check. Sorry, I was getting distracted by something.
Yeah, you might. It sounds like you're calling that diesel test.
Oh wait, I see what I've done. I think I'll try it again.
So I'm just getting the word 2.
You're getting the word 2. That's perfect. That's exactly what you should have, mate. Yep, that's
Yeah,
brilliant.
it is.
Damn it.
So, so,
oh, thank God! I'm so happy.
So, Luke, does that make sense? Why you're getting 2 there?
Yeah.
Yep, does. Yep.
Because diesel doesn't equal 1, so it goes to the else. Sorry, Deez, I didn't mean it like that. You know I love you.
While Abe's looking into that, do you want to just double check that code does work the other way round and just change diesel to 1, save it, and then run it and see what you get?
Oh, I see. Well, see what I've done. Def index instead of def D's text.
Ah, that'd do it, mate. Yeah, so you've got 2 lots of index, have you?
Yeah, 2.
Oh, I got 2 shams again.
Did you change your name to 1? Your variable to 1, Deez?
It did. Maybe I forgot to save it.
Yeah, that does help.
Can you tell this is for beginners?
Did you? I'm starting with the. Did you turn the power on?
Do I have to restart Cody or?
No, you're okay, mate. No. You having issues there, Deez?
Yeah.
What's the problem? What seems to be going on?
Still just getting the Shan one twice.
You know what though? Okay, I don't know if this makes any difference, but yesterday when I was having issues when I changed anything inside my own add-on, I had to delete the add-ons database. Otherwise, it didn't change in my add-on. Does that make any sense?
It depends what kind of add-on you're doing.
Like, would he possibly have to do that?
Uh,
It was this one. I was kind of working on it. I was adding icons and stuff,
oh
but
yeah,
it didn't
yeah.
change the look of it until I deleted the add-on database.
Icons are.
I'm gonna do that right now too.
Icons are cached, so yeah, icons are a bit different. Artwork, if you're doing any kind of skinning work or anything artwork related, yeah, you will have to. Well, the textures 13
Delete that,
file is what I usually delete. Textures 13
Oh,
in
okay.
your thumbnails. There's a folder called thumbnails in user data. If you delete that and also delete your textures 13, that stores everything about all your cached artwork and it just recache it again.
Hang on 1 sec. I think I know what I did. No, damn it! I'm still getting that same thing. Bloody hell.
So what, are you getting an error or just the fact that you're getting 2 come up?
I'm just getting 2 Shans still.
And what have you got yours as? You've got diesel equals 1 at the top, yeah?
Oh shit.
Yep.
And you've got the if diesel equals 1 at the bottom.
Here, hang on 1 sec. I'll share my screen.
Okay, yeah, good plan.
Can you see my screen?
Okay, I can see it now, yeah. So, if diesel equals 1, D's test, else index. Okay, that looks like it should work. So, are you definitely saving that in the right place? Let's check. Kodi add-ons, yeah. So it's being saved in the correct place. Could you just... hold on. I'll tell you what you are missing, though. You're missing the plus on the
Yeah.
shan. So that would error.
Where, sorry?
On line 19, just before shan.
Need a plus.
You need a plus there,
Oh,
mate.
where did my plus go?
Just
That's it. That looks good.
I think that was it. Everything else looks okay.
Alright, testing.
I was just wondering, can you use %20 instead of a plus?
%20 is a space. So it's...
Alright, yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, it's URL...
It's just when I'm doing a URL, I can use either, you see.
Yes.
I can use a plus or I can use...
Yeah.
Hey, Cos, you'll notice that too in our XMLs. When you take the when you get the URL for it, it always has that. It always has %20 between all the words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I fixed it.
Hey, well done, Dees. Well done, mate. But yeah, look, that's yeah, it's basically just the way you... What's it called? Mine's gone blank this evening. I can't think of what the word is, but yeah, it's the encoding they use in URLs and things, because you can't physically put a space in a URL. It would just error. It needs to be one big long string.
Yeah.
So obviously you've got the %20, you've got ampersand, I forget what it is, but yeah, there's loads of them. So like the and sign's got a special one and all that. But yeah, we get to that later on, I think, in another guide, because that's quite a bit more advanced than where we're at the minute. So is that all working for everyone now?
Yep.
Okay, so let's expand on that if statement that we've got there. So another thing we can do with it is we could do if D's is equal to 1, and so you can extend that out and have more parameters in there as well. So you could do if D's equals 1 and Baroni, if I could spell it right, Baroni is equal to 0. We could do D's test. So that would mean that both of those things needs to be true. So Diesel needs to be 1 and Baroni needs to be 0 for it to do D's test. If both of them aren't true, it will do index. So in that case, based on what
Need to change Brownie to 0.
Yep, that's it. So based on that at the minute, as you say, yeah, if we don't change Baroni to 0, it will just do the index one. Does that make sense? Yeah.
So it'll print shan 2.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because both of those are not true. Only one of those is true. And another thing we could do, instead of and, we could change that to or. Now, if we'd done that, it would actually print the D's test one. It would do the ARB equals Houdin equals, because we're saying, okay, if Diesel is equal to 1 or Baroni is equal to 0, it only needs one of those statements to be true. So, yeah, obviously Diesel is true, Baroni isn't, but one of them is true, so go ahead and do whatever we're doing. That can trip a lot of people up, to be honest, the and or. I've got stuck with it myself quite a few times, thinking what is going on, and you go through your code, especially if you've got a lot of statements in one line, because there's no limit on the amount you can have. You can have a lot of, I mean, we could even add to that. We could say Diesel is 1 or Baroni is 0 and ARB equals 3 or something like that, and it soon gets quite confusing. But we'll get rid of that. We just stick with the if Diesel equals 1 and Baroni equals 0. we do D's test.
So that means because that's wrong, it's false, right?
So D's equals 1, Baroni equals 0. Yep, so that's wrong. So we don't do D's test, we go on to else. So we do the index, yeah?
Yep.
Another thing we can do in here is, instead of else, we can do elif. Now, we'll just put a little statement in there called Baroni is equal to 1. And just to make so it makes a bit more sense, let's copy that and we paste it on the next line as well and change that one to diesel is equal to 0. Right. Now where we had else before, that only relates to whatever was just before that. So whatever statement we had just before that, which was the if diesel equals 1, Baroni equals 0, that would just relate to that one particular thing. If we had if statements before that if statement, they wouldn't be in the equation at all. It would just be the very last one. Whereas with this, what we can do is if diesel is equal to 1 and Baroni is equal to 0, do D's test. This means else if, so if that's not true, basically, try doing this. Is Baroni equal to 1? Which he is. In which case it would do index. And it wouldn't go any further. It wouldn't go on to the next else if, because that one was true. It would just stick at that one. If that was true, so if we had Baroni as, do you know what? Let's change that to Baroni 2. We'll leave that one as 1, 1, 1. Okay, right. So we've now got is diesel 1 and Baroni 0? No. Okay, so we move on to the next one. Is Baroni 2? No. Is diesel 0? No. So that's going to do nothing. If we run that code, absolutely nothing will happen because not one of those is true. Does that make sense? Anything that I said there?
Yep.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, none of that is true. I mean, we could change that to diesel equals 1, and then obviously that one is true. So it would do the index there. It called that function. Let's change that back to 0, and we continue on with that. So we could do else if. We can put a final else in here, right? This will cover all other eventualities. Okay, so there's a few different things that few different combinations we could have there. We've got 3 different combinations at the minute. If it's anything else other than any of those, we could do D's test. Oops, D's test. So we know for a fact that that is definitely going to do D's test because all the 3 above are wrong. So it's just going to go into that. And if you want to just make sure, this is very good for error log check-in. Just above the D's test, if you do xbmc log open brackets quotations, put some of those hashes in or pounds, and we'd do else statement, and then if you save that and run that, that will tell you which line of code is being run. So in an ideal world, to be honest, what we would do is copy that and put it on each if statement. So, and we just change it to, what's that one? That's the Okay, so if you can see my screen, if you do something like that with the logs in each if statement, it will tell you in the log which one has been run. So as I say, that's really, really useful for when you try to run an add-on and working out where it's going wrong. You can put things like that in and locate. I like the way you're all blindly copying me, and I'm not even testing my code here. I've got no idea if it works or not.
I just tested it. It works. I was surprised.
I've got too much of a lag here. I can't switch to XBMC. So yours worked, did it?
Once I spelled XBMC correctly.
Did you want to try? Did you want to try changing one of those other statements to true, just to see that they are working as well? So if you try, I don't know, diesel equals 0. If you change that to diesel equals 1, and then run it,
and it's going to print that.
It should print that, followed by index, which is the shan thing.
Like a diesel equals 0 statement, and then 2.
Perfect. Brilliant. Oh, we should have really changed the print statement to say diesel equals 1, shouldn't we? But it doesn't matter. Okay. So you happy with that, how that works?
No.
No? Okay.
Sorry, on line 33 there, that says Baroni -2 statement.
Equals.
Oh, I've got an equals there, but you can put in whatever you want, to be honest. That's just printing whatever we want to the log. So
okay.
I'm just going to quickly show you something else. We're going to make it error, and then I'll explain why it's errored. So if we do, in this D's test one, we've got define D's test, XBMC log, after the who'd-in bit, put some spaces and do Baroni equals, and then percent lowercase s, and then just after who'd-in in the brackets at the end, if we do comma Baroni, and by the way, I'm going to space these out a little bit. It doesn't matter if you put spaces after commas and things. You know, you can put as many as you want. Just makes it a little easier to read. Same as that final percent sign as well. I did have it right up against the quotations, but it's a little easier to read if it's spaced out. But if you was to run that now, I think we should get these test. You should get an error. Anyone manage to run that and get error?
No, I didn't get an error.
You didn't get an error? Ah.
I didn't. Wait a minute, let's just double check yours against mine.
Hey, Lee?
Yep.
Are you kind of feeling like you're in over your head now? This is going to be fun.
There's been a lot of errors in this one.
Yeah, it doesn't put an error.
Oh, you know why?
A lot of
Sorry, we're not.
It prints the statement.
You didn't change the number.
Yeah, we haven't. Yeah, we need it to call D's test. So let's just let's change Baroni to 0 at the top, and then it's going to run D's test, and then it should error, hopefully.
Didn't error.
Oh, damn it. Yep, sorry. I see what I've done. Yeah. But it did print. It did.
You've got to do a lot of editing in this one, I think.
Yeah. Right, okay. So ARB, did it print who'd-in equals Baroni equals? Did it print that to the log?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, and
Baroni equals 0.
Brilliant.
Who'd-in
Yeah. Right. So the reason for that. I'll tell you in a minute. Right. Let's do. You see where we've got Shan at the top here. So on the define index where we've got Shan, change that to Baroni. So plus Baroni. And then save. Oh no, we need it to run that one, don't we? How do we get it to run that one? Let's just do change
Baroni to 2.
Oh, well done, mate. So if you got an error this time, try running that.
Yeah, error.
Right.
Test.
So if you look in your log, it basically say something along the lines of can't concatenate string and integer objects or something like that, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
String and integer.
Yeah.
Oh.
Cool.
I'm still getting these tests.
Did you change Baroni equals 2 thing?
I did.
Did you change Shan to Baroni?
Yep.
What does it say in the log? It should tell you in the log which statement is picked up. So does it say like diesel and Baroni equals 2, diesel equals 0, or else statement? But yeah, ARB, the reason...
Hang on.
Okay, I'll wait for you.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, the reason you got that integer string issue is because we've got the plus there, and we're asking it to print that to the log, Baroni. Baroni is actually a number, and it won't print numbers. Okay, it'll only print strings. So I mean, if we change that to where we've got Baroni at the top, if we put that in quotation marks, it would work. But if we actually have it as a number, which sort of shows us that bluey colour, purpley bluey colour, it won't work. The reason it worked in that other one is because where we've got the %s, we're actually telling it convert it to a string. No matter what we're sending it, convert that to a string. So it's quite clever. It can do that stuff. It can take numbers and convert them into strings. We could give it all kinds of stuff, sort of like whole big lists and things, and it convert everything into a string if we've got the %s. But what we could do, if you really wanted to use that plus sign, just before Baroni, you can put str and then brackets, and then we need to close those brackets as well. So you could do string Baroni, and you should then find it works. That convert it to a string manually.
Lee, is it true that like the % and then S is a string, and then is it % and D is for when you want numbers?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. %D is decimal. I think. Yeah, I think it's decimal. And what's the other one? Float. %F is yeah. So D would be a sort of normal integer. Float is a number with a point.
One that has a decimal in it.
Yeah, with a decimal point in it. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Correct. Well done.
Yeah.
How you doing, Dees?
I'm getting there. I'm just catching up here.
Is yours all working now?
Mine's working, yeah.
Is it? Oh, all right. Well, maybe we should do something else to quickly fix that. Now, are you okay, Shane, if I just carry on with another bit?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm just checking my log again. And
Right, I'm just going to do another
cool,
function.
I got Baroni 2, statement number 2. Yeah, I got all kinds of cool stuff
good,
here.
Good.
Right
That's
on.
what we like
Thank
to
you
hear.
for helping me.
Right, so what Luke mentioned earlier was, why do we have the brackets at the end of the function? So let's create another one. We do def. Let's move the mouse out of the way. Define. We do Luke test. Open brackets, and we're just going to type something in here. Now we can call this whatever we want. This is going to be a parameter that we're going to send through to this particular function. So it gets a bit more advanced here. We just call it, I don't know, test param. Yeah, test param, that says. Don't know if you can see, that's a bit sort of funny looking. And then you obviously need the colon at the end. And if we then do xbmc.log, log, we do quotation marks and test param equals, we do that %s, and then at the end we need another percentage, and we just need what we want to put in there. So in this case it's going to be test param. So what we're telling it there is, okay, print to the log the words test param equals, and then we're going to put in whatever's been passed to Luke test. So when we're calling Luke test, we're going to need to send it something, and that's what's going to print there. So if we come down here to one of these, we change, which one was it that's working? That Baroni one. Yeah, must have been. So if we change that to, from index, we change that one to Luke test, and then in the brackets there we need to put whatever we're going to send to it. So in this case we do quotation marks and let's put some hashes. Is this working diesel? Right, can you all see that? So we're sending, yep, is this working diesel to Luke test. So when you run it, when you save this, yeah, don't forget to save it. If you run that and have a look at the log,
is this
cool.
working diesel?
Yeah, I got it too.
Brilliant.
So it prints the Baroni one too? Is that right?
Oh yes, yeah. Because we've got that if statement down there. So we've got the if diesel is 1, if Baroni is 0. Well, that's not right. So we move on to the next one, and then we've got if Baroni is 2. We then do everything in that little section, that indented section.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because that is true. So the first thing it does is prints Baroni equals 2 statement, and then it prints.
Okay, I got a question for you though, Lee.
Yeah.
If we had to say xbmc log in order for it to know to print it in the log, how come we didn't have to say that for the Luke test as well? Does that make sense?
Okay, right. Because what we're doing there is we're calling the Luke test function, right? So it's not actually, at this point, it doesn't know it's going to print it. It's just sending, is this working diesel?
Back up to the top.
Back up to Luke test. Okay.
Okay.
So test param in there, that is actually,
it's equal.
That is equal to
test param.
That is equal to, is this working diesel, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, I get that.
Yeah. So we've sent that, and then it moves on to whatever is in that function. and that function is saying, okay, print to the log that bit there.
Okay.
Makes sense?
You're never going to believe this, but it didn't work for me.
No, never. Wow, that's impressive. So while we're in there, I suppose we probably ought to call it a day in a minute. If we put a comma after "Is this working, Diesel?" and we also send, I don't know, let's just put a number, 100. If we then go up to our Luke test thing and we put in a comma after test param, and just again we can call it whatever we want. When you're doing names in here, it's always best to try and use things that aren't already used as other functions or something like that. That can get extremely confusing. You know, you might have a variable called test, you might have a function called test, and it'll really throw things out of whack. It doesn't like it at all, so we just call it whatever.
Cat.
Whatever. So if we was to run that now, it will still work, but it's not doing anything with that 100 because we're not telling it to do anything with it. Does that make sense, Shan?
Because, okay, hold on, I gotta look back at this.
Yeah, so you're only telling it to do test param.
And not, okay, wait.
Yeah, so
Wait.
So it's expecting two parameters basically. It's expecting test param, the first one, and whatever. So whatever we send in that order is how it knows which one's which. So test param will be the very first thing that's sent, which happens to be that. Is this working, Diesel? And then whatever is the next parameter that we've sent, which happens to be 100. So that's great. The function knows that it's got those two things, but at this moment in time, we're not actually printing to the log anything apart from test param.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So even though it knows that whatever is 100, it's not telling it to print it anywhere, so we won't see it.
Exactly. But what we could do, this is where it gets quite clever. We could do whatever. Yeah, just below the log in Luke test. So do whatever. If you do star, that means multiply by. So multiply by 2.
Should then print to the log?
Actually, sorry. What we'd do is
I would print 200.
Yeah. We would need to put that.
Good math skills there.
We would need to put that. We would need to put that in a log statement, though. We would need to put that in. But what we'd do is, if we do whatever equals, so we're saying, let's make whatever.
So 100.
100 times 2.
Cool.
Yep. So we basically turned whatever into whatever times 2, and then we could print that. So we could do xbmc log.
So that's a variable, no, is it? Or?
It is, yes. Yep. Exactly.
Whatever.
I mean, we could, if we wanted, where we've got that whatever. It doesn't have to be whatever. It would make more sense probably is whatever new, so you don't get confused with which ones is which. So you could do whatever new is whatever times 2, and whatever still remains as 100 if ever you need to call that again. But whatever.
So
new,
printing to the log, you're going to print whatever new.
Yeah. So if we just do whatever new, now that would actually fail because because that's an integer, because it's a number and not a string. So if we just do str, open
Then new
brackets,
yeah.
and don't forget to close it as well with another bracket, because we've got 2 brackets open, we need to close it with 2 brackets.
Could you put that whatever equals, could that be inside after test param equals, could it be after the test test
absolutely,
param, like
absolutely.
inside?
Yeah.
It would all be in there together?
So if we wanted, we could do, where you've got test param equals %s, we could do, put some spaces in, and let's do whatever equals %s, and then all you do is you put them in brackets because you've got multiple ones. So you do test param, comma, whatever, and close the brackets.
That's what's neat about coding, though, Ace. There's a pile of different ways to do the exact same thing.
Exactly.
Well, that's why it depends on how you learned. I know that my wife, there's like a lot of the people that are from India, they code a certain way, and she says it doesn't make sense because they kind of go around their elbow to get to their asshole. Because she says it's all they do it the same way, even if it's not efficient, because that's the only way they know how to do it.
The neat thing is, though, that's how the way a lot of the devs recognize their own code right away, though, because they all rate different.
Yeah, you can spot your own code a mile off, even if people have tried to change it. It's you'll still know that it's yours.
Okay, so should we try that?
Yeah,
is that going to work now?
Yeah, try running it. See what happens. Be interesting.
He's got no clue because he can't open Cody.
Yep, I've got
Test
Baroni
error.
equals
I
2.
must have done something wrong.
I've got, is this working, Diesel? And I got 200.
At this point, I'm just going to believe you guys.
I got all 3.
That's brilliant.
I did not get that.
What you got, Abby? You got an error.
Got error, yeah. I'm trying to. I'll have a look at the log. It's the best video, isn't it?
Could be a closing bracket, maybe, or.
Can't believe it worked for me.
Global name whatever is not defined.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Which name?
I think.
Oh, whatever is not defined.
It might be that you've not spelt whatever right in the Luke
Oh,
test.
is it because I've got a capital W.
Yeah.
Shit.
That's.
I think I'm winning now.
Just edit me out of this whole thing.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I can't believe this happened.
Actually, I'm really glad you made that error. That's good. No, that is a good one to bring up because I don't think we've mentioned that before.
What, spelling things wrong?
With a cap?
No, I didn't spell it wrong.
No, it is case sensitive. When coded in Python, it is absolutely everything is case sensitive. So an uppercase letter is totally different to a lowercase letter. It won't recognise it as the same.
Actually, when I was working on that Voynich tutorial that Mucky gave me the other day, that's what it was. I typed match with a capital M because that's the way the guy wrote it in his tutorial, but the boys are all like, no, it's lowercase. And as soon as I changed it, it fixed it.
Yeah. Easy mistake. So is it working now, ALB?
It works now, yeah.
Woohoo!
Good stuff. Brilliant.
I made that error on purpose, so you point it out.
To make me feel better?
No, because I'm trying to help people learn from my
I
mistake.
still
okay.
haven't got is this working, Diesel, yet.
Deez, pop
So
your,
is it not working,
default
Diesel?
fly up on the screen. Can you do that, Deez?
And what's happening, mate? You're just getting. Oh, I see. Yeah. So you're
Diesel needs to be equals 1 instead of equals 0. In the statement, diesel equals 0 statement. Or does that not matter why he's written there?
Huh?
At the bottom.
I think that's okay.
I don't think.
We want the one that says Baroni is equal to 2 to work, right?
Yeah. So that's fine. What you've not got. So what are you getting at the minute? You're just getting diesel equals naught state. No, sorry, Baroni equals 2 statement.
Hang on, opening it. Right now, I am getting diesel and Baroni statement and arb equals 3s.
He has a
Hood
question.
and hi guys, Baroni equals 2.
Did you save this?
Did you see
Yes.
200?
No.
Because you should be getting the 200 too.
Is that the same thing you guys are getting? ARB equals 3s, Houdin equals... No,
No, I don't.
it's not, is it? So if you go back into your default PYDs, I think I know what the problem is. Okay, so we know for a fact that it's printing Baroni equals 2 statement. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what it's then doing is it's messing up that next bit. So what have you got there? Luke test. Is this working diesel? Yeah, that looks good. Luke test. Test param. Looks alright, doesn't it, I think?
It does look all right. Oh, wait a minute. I know what it is. I know what it is.
No.
Right underneath Luke test, he's got test param. It's 2 words. It should be 1, should it not?
No, that's what I've got. The same.
On diesels though?
Yeah, I've got the same as diesel.
Yeah, but it should be 1 word and not 2.
Oh wait, I see what he's done.
Oh, and hold on, I think I found something else.
Where here?
After the percentage S, you need a space whatever.
Or just take away the
Equals.
space in the first test param.
Yeah.
It's instead of 2 words, Deez, make it 1. Test param,
Here?
1 word. Yeah, take that space out.
No, that's not what I've got.
Plus, you should have. Oh wait, yeah, that's what I have, and mine worked.
I think the problem is...
But he hasn't got whatever equals percentage S.
Oh, I didn't.
It's not equals. Yeah.
The problem is he's
It's just
somehow...
you need 2 equal signs.
Yeah, the problem is he's somehow getting that D's test showing, the ARB, Houdin, and Baroni, whereas you guys aren't getting that, are you? Or are you?
But Lee, do you see how he's missing? He's got. It's like A or B said, on that one he just fixed, test param. It should be equals, right? It should be 2 equal signs, not the 1.
In
I've only
there,
got 1.
in there it doesn't matter, to be quite honest, because that's just what you're printing to the log. So it could say anything in there.
But isn't it saying if test param is equal to test param, then? Or no?
In what, on line 26 or whatever it is.
Like I have 2 equal signs there, and mine's printing fine, all 3 lines.
Yeah, line 26 that he's got there. That if it's inside the actual print statement, the XBMC log statement,
Then it's just a string.
it's just a string, so it doesn't. It could
Okay.
say absolutely anything. Yeah.
Okay.
It should really be 2 equals, but yeah, that was my bad on that. I didn't put 2 equals, so he's just copied me. But yeah, it won't make any difference.
Okay.
But what is happening is line 23 is printing on his log, so we've got to work out why it's printing that. Why is D's test being called? Because I don't think it should
Oh, okay. It's skipping all the ifs and the elifs and going right straight to else then.
be. It does
Right?
seem like that, doesn't it?
It's printing D's test. Or wait, the first one's a D's test too. The first if. D's equals. Oh, you know what it is?
Yeah.
He's got or instead of and on the if statement. Is that right? That makes it
Yeah, could
That
be.
makes it
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
true statement,
Yeah,
which
that's
means
it.
that's why it's doing it.
Good
Oh
spot,
God,
Shan.
I knew
Good
she'd get
spot.
it. Damn it.
Bloody hell.
I was frantically looking at that thinking I want to get this.
When did we change
I
that?
knew Shan would get it.
You know what? The good thing is we're all getting better at spotting the little things.
Yeah. That was like something that's quite easy to overlook.
Yay!
Well, if Lee hadn't have said the D's test comment, then I wouldn't even have looked for that. So work D's?
Should say 200.
It should say 200. What's it say?
400.
200.
Yay.
Yeah, woohoo!
Whoop, whoop.
Perfect. Awesome.
That's great. Brilliant.
Hey, we printed the word or the number 200. Woohoo!
So,
We're-
so before we call it a
I'm
night,
just full of friggin' mistakes tonight.
Great.
before we call it a night, I'll just quickly say, as we've got the times 2 there, the other things that you can have in there, multiplication wise, are plus, so you can obviously do that'd be 102, minus, and division. So divide by 2, that gives you 50. And there was one other thing I wanted to mention, and that is in your if statements, if you've got let's not do it on that one. We do it on that one. So elif Baroni is equal to 2. It does that. So that's basically saying, yeah, if the above isn't true and Baroni is 2, do this. But if you want to find out if something is not equal to something else, all you do is you get rid of the first equals and you do the exclamation mark. So that means not equals. Exclamation mark means not, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where it gets really fun. Not true, not false.
Yeah, you can end
Yeah.
up with double false positives.
Yeah.
And yeah. But really useful. You will use that quite a lot, I'd imagine. Not equals.
Okay.
I think that's about it, really. Any questions?
I don't think we've got time.
And that brings us to a close. Sorry that one went on for so long, went way over schedule, and believe it or not, I have actually edited out about an hour's worth of footage as well. But there was quite a lot I think we got through there, and it's all going to be worth it, because in the next episode, episode 3, we're going to have dialogues and playing a video. So in next week's episode it gets interesting. Our add-on will start to take shape as we show dialogues, get user interaction, and even play a video in Koding. If you have any questions with this episode or any future episodes, a section has now been set up for questions and answers on the noobsandnerds.com website. So head on over to noobsandnerds.com and you'll see a new development section. Bring down that menu and you'll see Python Koding. And you can either click on that to see all the episodes, or there'll be a sub-menu on the side where you can obviously click on the relevant episode, and this episode 2 will soon be added on there. So if we click on number 1, you'll see you've got the questions and answers for episode number 1. Right, well, thanks for watching, and we'll catch up soon.